This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Rush.
Views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WPSL. However, we are the ones who encourage you to like and share them on social media with all your friends, because it's time for Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce and hosted by Joanne Seeger.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Well, I am so beyond excited about this morning, so hopefully I'll be able to speak. So we are going to skip the breath work this morning, but please, you should be doing it while taking notes the whole time for this hour. And so without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Terry Lemerond, that's online with us. So not live in studio, but that's okay. We got him right on the phone. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Joanne. I'm very excited as well as you are, and I'm extremely happy to be on the air with you.
Oh, thank you so much. It really, Terry, it's such an honor. I mean, you're one of my mentors, and I've been following you for so many years, and it looks like you and I are best friends if anyone goes into my pantry, because Terry's vitamins are like lined up from the beginning to the end. So I am so thrilled that you're on. So let me just give everyone a little bit of background to see why I'm so excited about having you on the show. All right, so Terry has been in the field, I think, about 50 years now, and definitely you don't look it. There you go. And he is just a wealth of knowledge. He speaks with passion, such integrity, and he really just wants to help people. Even though he has an amazing supplement line, he really talks about the effects of lifestyle, diet, just the whole body experience, which is what I love about him. He stands for purity, research, and I can go on, but we have so much to cover. I feel like I would need 20 hours, but I want to mention tonight he will be at our local library doing a lecture at 6 p.m. We are fully booked, but we did create a Zoom call. So if any of you really want to see Terry in person, I will try to do the best Zoom quality I can. I will give you the meeting ID and password right now so you can join us tonight live if you can't attend the seminar or you didn't register. So get your pencils and pens ready. The meeting ID for the Zoom call is 816-0567-1297. That's a meeting ID, and the passcode is 12345. And for all you fellow old schoolers that still haven't experienced Zoom, it's so easy. Don't be intimidated. Once you get the Zoom app or Zoom.com, all you have to do is say join meeting and put those 2 bits of information in, and you can call Matt at the store and we can text you the information if you'd like. So really don't be intimidated. You'll get to see Terry live and in action, and you don't want to miss it. And speaking of, if you are an attendee tonight or you come into the store today, Terry has been very generous in this amazing giveaway folder that has 3 amazing books that he co-authored, as well as this handout sheet called How to Regain Your Health at Any Age, which Terry, by the way, this is priceless right there. Just giving this one pamphlet out to me could save a lot of lives. So thank you for making this pamphlet. It's incredible. It seems simple, but you literally put, I think, all your years of knowledge in this pamphlet. So incredible. All right, Terry, without further ado, the show is yours. Where should we start?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know where to start with you. I mean, it's just, you're so knowledgeable about every subject, and I know your emphasis is really about people regaining control over their diet and lifestyle first and foremost. So maybe we should start there.
Well, let me say first that I also have a radio show like you do, Joanne, and I do my radio show on Saturday and Sunday morning from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's Green Bay time. I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. But you can go in and listen to my show live by going to my website called terrytalksnutrition.com. There you can click on the radio show section live, and you can be listening at 9 to 10 because you're 1 hour ahead of us. But you can also go to the radio show section and bring up any radio show that you like and listen at your convenience, or as they say, on demand. I also do a newsletter every week, and I send it out on Friday to all your email addresses, and you'll learn more about health and nutrition every week. So I invite you to join me, as well as join Joanne. But really, what I tell my listeners is that nobody cares about our health. The drug companies don't care about our health because actually their best customers are sick customers, so they want everybody to be sick. Food manufacturers prepare the most outrageous, non-nutritious. More people die from the American diet than they do from any other cause. And we are the only ones responsible. You and I are the only ones responsible for our health. Doctors don't know anything about health. I don't criticize doctors because we do need doctors. We do need drugs too, but only in an emergency or a crisis. But all the health conditions that are being treated today by prescribed drugs, whether it might be type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, obesity, osteo or rheumatoid arthritis, all these conditions are the result of our previous choices that we made somewhere throughout our lifetime. And because 98% of all diseases are caused by inflammation based on our lifestyle choices. The American diet in itself is a pro-inflammatory diet. It causes inflammation. So as we know, inflammation is good for us because that's what heals our injuries. If we sprain an ankle, or we twist our knee, or we slam our finger in the car door, we have an injury. Now, inflammation is created in that injured area to make it heal, hopefully quickly and fast. So you find that that injured area might be hot to the touch, at least warmer than normal. It may have pain. It may be swollen. It has accumulation of water and fluid there. And that are the symptoms and the signs of inflammation healing that injured area. But why do Americans have inflammation all the time, called chronic inflammation, not acute? Acute inflammation is when we injure ourselves and we know within the next few days or a few weeks we will be actually improved and our health will be better. We'll be back to normal, so to speak. But people today, 95% of Americans have chronic inflammation. We are a nation of inflammation, and that causes all our diseases. Now, we want to reverse inflammation. That means we can't continue to eat the American diet. All the American diet causes inflammation. Why? Because there are 3 things in the American diet that are continuously consumed every day, and that is sugar, excessive carbohydrates, and especially American carbohydrates because they are refined and processed, and then vegetable oils. And they really are not vegetable oils. They're seed oils, like soybean oil or corn oil or peanut oil or safflower oil, sunflower seed oil. These are all omega-6 fatty acids. And it isn't bad that we have omega-6 fatty acids in our diet if it were done in a ratio of 1-to-1 from omega-6 to omega-3. We do need omega-6 fatty acids. But because they're so cheap and so inexpensive that the food manufacturers dump a ton of soybean oil and corn oil into all the prepared and processed foods today. So it has been estimated by scientists that we don't have a 1-to-1 ratio between omega-6 and omega-3. We have a 30 times omega-6 to omega-3. So all that omega-6 creates a enzyme, not an enzyme, but an acid called arachidonic acid. And arachidonic acid is an inflammatory acid, causes more inflammation. So if we want to reduce inflammation, and all 98% of our diseases today is caused by inflammation, I don't care how old you are, the condition that you're struggling with, the condition that you're challenged with, or you can say, I'm going to give up hope, I can't lose weight, I have all these pains and all these aches, I have type 2 diabetes, I have high blood pressure. I've seen people, after decades and decades of abuse to their body, following the wrong type of diet, change their diet. and get rid of all the sugar and carbohydrates and the vegetable oils and eat a clean, healthy diet of animal proteins, lots of healthy fats, and very low carbohydrates. And in just 3 to 6 months, their life is absolutely turned around, that they have very little or no pain. Now, sometimes we may have abused our body so long that we may have damaged some of our joints to such a point that they're not able to recover. We can't have bone on bone in our knees or joints or our hip and expect that to recover. We can't. It's already so much damage that we can't. But even if you have pain and you say, I struggle with this pain, and some of the drugs that people are using trying to reduce pain, like Tylenol, acetaminophen, Aleve or Advil, these are all very serious, damaging, killing, and actually kill people, up to 60,000 people a year that die from these drugs. And the number one cause of liver failure in the United States. These drugs are very, very they're damaging, and they're not safe. They're not highly effective. And there are really natural alternatives, which we'll learn tonight about these natural alternatives that will turn your life around. And you can't believe how you can go through life almost pain-free, even though you have so much damage done to your body already, but you can be lived pain-free. And that's the most exciting thing I can tell you about, is that you don't have to live the way you are. You don't have to feel hopeless. You don't have to feel that, I get this pain and I can't get rid of it. I'm struggling with this pain, and, I've got type 2 diabetes. I have high blood pressure. What do I do? I'm on 6, 8, 9 drugs, and these drugs are killing people.
Yeah.
And we can do it with natural alternatives that are high quality, that they are highly scientifically studied. They're evidence-based, based on science. These are the things that we can use to turn around our lives and make a difference, and that's what we'll learn tonight.
That's amazing, Terry. And one thing I want to, I believe in your philosophy 110%, and I want to stress to the audience, if they caught you say animal products, like Terry said about the omega-6 ratio being so out of balance, one of the reasons is they're feeding our animals different than they were historically, so now they're more omega-6 versus omega-3. So in the handout that he has, and again, if you come to the store today, you can get the handout as well as a little gift. It stresses grass-fed beef, getting animal products that were the way they were intended to be raised, so the ratio stays in proportion to what it's supposed to. Because I know, Terry, a lot of my clients are trying to do low carb, but they're eating all these animal products that are very poor quality and not getting the results they would have if they kept grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, free-range, and wild fish versus farm-raised. I know they get much better results when they make sure they're sourcing. Just like supplements, you have to make sure that you have the right sourcing and the right processing, or maybe you're not matching the clinicals or the trial studies.
Absolutely, Joanne. I'm glad you brought that fact up. When I get talking, sometimes I'm like a piece of fire going.
But I love your passion, because it's so sincere. It's
thank you.
Amazing, yeah.
But yes, you're absolutely right. Grass-fed is an omega-3 fatty acid. When they finish it with corn, or even eat the entire diet of the cattle is corn, you are hitting a high portion and high quantity of omega-6 fatty acids. Yes, it makes the beef more tender, and it does marble it, but it's not healthy for us. And I always recommend, like you do, if you can possibly do it, organic, grass-fed beef, or lamb, or whatever kind of meat that you want. And seafood, if you can get line caught, if you can get, directly from the ocean without, farm raised. Some of these seafoods are farm raised. They're terrible. If you saw how they were raised,
it's
you would
disgusting.
Be so disgusted you would not be able to eat them after you saw them.
It's so gross.
Terrible. They're in sludge. They're in mush, and they're feeding them. Actually feed them chicken poop and duck poop. It's just so disgusting. You can't believe it.
It's so great. I always tell people, just imagine you have a fish tank and you try to put 300 fish in there and try to keep that ecosystem environment healthy. You can't do it without a lot of chemicals and fake stuff, and it's disgusting. But Terry, because I just have, I get asked all the time by my clients, well, Joanne, I listen to you, I'm eating more vegetables, I'm going lower carb, so I don't need supplements now, right? So I get asked that a lot. Why should we supplement if we're eating better? Can you cover that topic?
Well, even though that we are eating better with today's environment and society, the food that we are eating isn't the same kind of food that our great-grandparents ate 50 to 100 years ago. It's really sad because a lot of the soil has been depleted. A lot of the minerals and nutrients that are in the soil have been washed off into the ocean. And they don't replenish the nutrients in the soil. They don't put minerals back in. They put in artificial fertilizers. They have a fast growth spurt. They try to increase the protein content of grains. They do everything they can for profit, not for nutrition. So the foods that we're eating today, in fact, we did a study on some things that research that one of my researchers that helped me with a lot of my scientific research for the radio shows. When we eat, or when our great-grandparents, let me put it that way, when they ate an orange 50 years ago or 100 years ago, we would have to eat 8 oranges today to equal that one orange that our great-grandparents ate 50 to 100 years ago. Our food does not have the nutrients, does not have the nutritional value that were made years ago, and most people may pick up genetically modified foods. For apples, for example, genetically modified apples. They don't make those apples more nutritious. They make them bigger. They make them sweeter. They make them so they don't bruise. They make them so they can last on the shelf.
And let's take the seeds out at the same time.
They're not for nutrition. They're for profit and for a bigger economic income. And our food today is really, we do the best we can with what's out there and still try to increase the value of your food and eat better food. Don't eat all that sugar and carbohydrates that are refined and processed. And do better, but the better has no longer been able to do better than they did 50 to 100 years ago.
And that's perfect. And so someone that's new to this world, okay, like a multivitamin, sometimes I find that the stories that are with multis go along with like the new gummies and chewables. I have adults that are still taking like chewables and gummies. And can you cover why it's really important, if you really want to see a difference with supplementation, why quality matters and not just what the pretty label with fruits and vegetables on the cover says?
Yeah, I see some of that advertising on TV, and it's unbelievable what.
Great advertising campaign, though. Let me tell you, they're selling a good story, but not the right product to go with it.
Oh, yeah, you see these vegetable capsules and fruit capsules. You know that you could probably get one raspberry in a capsule after you dried it and powdered it and put it in the capsule. And they're trying to say that this is all your fruits and vegetables in one capsule. Oh, no, you can't ever do that.
Yep.
And the fact is that even these products that are just I'm not going to say a brand name like One A Day, but if you take a multivitamin and mineral and take a One A Day tablet, there is no way that we can put enough volume in that tablet to provide all the vitamins and minerals. Yes, we can. We can provide all the vitamins and minerals by name, but all the potencies of those vitamins and minerals aren't anywhere near the potencies or any meaningful levels that the body requires to be healthy. If you took all the vitamins and minerals together that you need in a daily intake and put them in your hand, that would equal about a golf ball. So if your daily vitamin is a golf ball size, hey, you're okay. But it's going to be pretty darn hard to swallow a golf ball to get all the vitamins and minerals.
Yeah,
so
I'm a one pill a person a day, yes.
A good vitamin and mineral supplement in order to get all your vitamins and minerals. And we made a product called the Clinical Essentials Vitamin and Mineral Supplement, and it gives you all the vitamins and minerals, but in very meaningful levels of all those vitamins and minerals. I have a very good friend, and he is also in the industry, and he made a One A Day. Now, I love this guy, but he's trying to satisfy his customers with a One A Day. But you look at the label, yes, all the vitamins and minerals that are there that we require in our body, but it has 25 milligrams of calcium. Now, we need about 1,000 milligrams of calcium. then he has 10 milligrams of magnesium. Now, a woman needs 320 milligrams of magnesium. Men need 420 milligrams of magnesium, and there's 10. But if you look at it and you don't know how to read a label, you're going to say, oh, magnesium and calcium and all this. Oh, boy, I'm getting all my vitamins and minerals, but it's like sitting in the ocean trying to raise the tide of the ocean. Never going to do it.
Right. I totally agree. And so Clinical Essentials, I love it. And it gives me that peace of mind. You know, at least I start with that and then go on to your other 10 of my favorite supplements. But we'll go over that tonight. Terry, I want to also, you have a passion to tell people the difference between consuming sodium in refined processed food and actually using salt as nutrition. Could you cover that a little bit before the 10:30 break?
Well, sodium is very, I shouldn't say sodium. Let's talk about salt. You get really good salt. I use Celtic sea salt. You can use Himalaya salt. There's other sources that are good salt. But you want a good quality salt that contains all the vitamins and minerals. You don't want the salt that's sold by the little lady with the umbrella. That's not salt. That's sodium chloride, and you don't need that in your body. But you need all the minerals that are coming in from the sea or from mined sources of salt, because we need sodium. In fact, some people that they're tired, they're exhausted, they have the adrenal exhaustion. They're fearful, they cry easily, they're complaining about everything, they're sick about it, all the conditions. You have allergies. You need salt in order to provide benefits for the adrenal glands to function, because when the adrenal glands are insufficient in their function, they actually displace sodium with excessive levels of potassium, and you need a balance between the sodium and potassium, and the good quality salt will help you do that. And I routinely take about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of Celtic sea salt in a glass of water in the morning when I take some of my extra special vitamins that I want to take on an empty stomach, but I make sure they're in a salty solution. And that makes you feel fantastic, makes you feel wonderful. We need that sodium to be active.
Yeah, I always tell everyone we are saline. We are not this refined water H2O alone. So, all right, so I think it's time for a quick break, and I mean quick. We're only going to run my commercial, and when we come back, I'd love to talk about iodine and the endocrine system. So everyone stay tuned. I hope you have your pens and paper out to take notes. Be right back. Hi, this is Joanne from Nutrition World and Wellness Center. I am really excited to introduce new guests and topics to my show every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. here on WPSL, where my listeners can call in on any topic. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it. We want to help you become the best version of yourself. We will have chiropractors, naturopaths, coaches, and of course, Dr. Ravi will be on every month as usual. I am looking forward to sharing my 30 years of experience with my listeners so we can enjoy this life journey together.
Visit Joanne's Nutrition World in the Krass Square, formerly known as the Arcade Building, located at US 1 and Orange Avenue, across from Fort Pierce City Hall. Open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4, Saturdays 10 to 3. Taking appointments for the Wellness Center online at joannesnutritionworld.com or call 772-464-3598.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
Welcome back to Joanne's World of Nutrition. Once again, here's your host, Joanne Seeger.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. And if anyone's missing Dr. Ravi, don't you worry. He's going to be on next week with me. We really miss him, and we'll be talking about pelvic floor and strengthening. All right, so now we have a very special guest, Terry, and we are discussing pretty much everything this morning, getting ready for his live lecture tonight at our local library. It is fully booked, but we offer it on Zoom. Just call Matt at the store, 464-3598, if you need the Zoom directions. I also want to mention, if you go to terrytalksnutrition.com, any topic, and I mean any topic you want to learn about, and you will learn a lot, is there. He has amazing people that he interviews. I love them. They're really great people that share his passion for health and nutrition and lifestyle change. So definitely check out Terry Talks Nutrition. And if you missed any of this, don't worry. It will be on YouTube later this week. All right. So Terry, you covered salt a little bit, and I know we could talk about that for a week, but iodine, I know you have a passion for the thyroid and especially the dysfunction in our world with the endocrine and thyroid, especially with metabolic syndrome affecting, I think, over half the population of the world. So can you talk about especially the endocrine system and the thyroid connection with the iodine and other supplements that help it function correctly?
Yes, we need a really good connection between the thyroid and the adrenal gland. That is a huge connection because when the thyroid doesn't function, the adrenal has to pick up and start working harder to compensate for the inefficiency of the thyroid or just the opposite. And so people end up feeling very tired, very fatigued. They have arthritis. They have a lot of aches and pains. They have more inflammation. And particularly with the thyroid, when they have a thyroid disorder, they have underactive thyroid called hypothyroidism. They're very, very tired, very fatigued. Women particularly, they lose hair like crazy. Their hair is falling out. They can't lose weight. They have puffiness in their face when they wake up in the morning. They have swollen hands, swollen ankles. They have some stiffness. And the outer third of the eyebrows may be missing, which is a very, very common clue that whether or not you have underactive thyroid, and especially when the hair starts falling out, you see more in the sink or more in the shower, and more on the pillowcase, and it's a common problem. It is a very widespread problem. 70% of all women in the United States have underactive thyroid. 50% of men have an underactive thyroid. And really, it is a deficiency of iodine. Now, 70% of the women and 50% of the men are always prescribed a synthetic thyroxine, a hormone of the thyroid. And it is the number one prescription in the United States. That tells you how widespread underactive thyroid is in America. Now, we can do that very easily. It's a substitute for that drug. I'm not telling you to go off the drug. That's something between you and your doctor. You should discuss it with your doctor. But if you want to make sure that your thyroid is functioning normally, and we'll get to the adrenal in just a moment, but the thyroid needs iodine. Now, we have T3 and T4 that has to function in order for the thyroid to be normal and have a very high-quality, balanced thyroid hormone. But Synthroid is only T4. And the doctors think that if you take enough T4, it'll convert to T3, which is not necessarily true. It may happen in some people, may not happen in other people. Some people are very poor converters of T4 to T3. But when you take iodine, and then you have other amino acid called L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine and iodine combine together to produce thyroxine in your body. You can make your own hormone. And then that increases the balance of your thyroid gland. Then you need a mineral called selenium, and selenium activates both the iodine and the L-tyrosine, and you get some phenomenal results. There are other things you can do to help your thyroid by not drinking water that is fluoridated and has chlorine. Drink good, fresh, purified mineral water. You can also avoid carbohydrates, especially gluten, which will also help your thyroid function better. These are all things you can do to make the thyroid act more balanced along with the adrenal glands. But you can do these things very easily. Now, our recommendation by the FDA is for about 125 to 150 micrograms, which is very, 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 very small, of iodine for your thyroid. But there has been a huge research center called the Iodine Project that has looked at the amount of iodine that people have used for thousands of years in various places of the world that have a perfect balanced thyroid. And their dosage of thyroid is about 12 milligrams of iodine per day. Now, that sounds a lot, but if you look at what is prescribed from 70 to 80 years ago in the research. It's too old. Even our vitamin D today, we thought 400 units of vitamin D was adequate. Now people are taking 5,000, 10,000, and even 20,000 units of vitamin D because we need today in this environment with all the pollution, chemicals, radiation, all the blue light, all the things that are really damaging our body. We have to up what we take in the way of nutrients and vitamins and minerals. And we can't get by on just food. We do need supplements. And by taking supplements of iodine, it's like 12 milligrams, 25 milligrams. I've gone to many conferences, medical conferences on iodine. And those medical doctors and the alternative physicians that are using iodine for their patients recommend about 50 milligrams of iodine for about 3 or 4 months, and then reduce that to 12.5 milligrams or 25 milligrams. And you'll never have a side effect. You'll never have any adverse events. Very, very safe. Gives really good results. And the first thing that women do especially, my hair has stopped falling out. I'm starting to lose some weight. I have more energy. Some of the women I've talked to said, this is my energy pill. I take my iodine with my L-tyrosine and selenium, and it actually puts my thyroid in balance, and I feel fantastic.
Yeah, when you restore that
those
endocrine
that have
system.
The adrenal
yeah.
insufficiency, they're the ones that never are happy. They're always complaining about something. They're the worry warts of the world. They make mountains out of molehills. They're never, never, ever happy. They're complainers. And I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm not trying to criticize how you are, but this is what happens. Because when the adrenals aren't putting out enough of the balance between DHEA and cortisol, then you're going to have underactive adrenal function, and you're going to be a basket case. And you can do that. You can turn that around very, very nicely by using products that contain adrenal extract, DHEA, because as cortisol goes up, cortisol is the stress hormone. So the more stress you have, or the higher the level of cortisol, shows that you're indicated that you're under a stress level. And most people are very irritable, they're angry, they're obnoxious, they're belligerent, they're worry-warts, they complain about everything, they're never happy, because the adrenals make us more actually feel better, we're stronger, we have a better tone to our muscles in our body. Not that we are bodybuilders, but we all should have better muscle tone. When we get to be elderly and we can't get out of a chair, we have lost our muscle tone. We can't get up out of a chair, we can't get up on a curb, we can't go up the stairs without somebody helping us. And the adrenal glands will strengthen our body and provide back a tremendous amount of value to our passion and to our feelings and being happy and being without complaints and taking things in a very common way. Yes, we're always going to have stress, but we can always learn how to cope with stress by getting the adrenal glands and the thyroid in balance, that they work together to help function those two areas very nicely and throughout the endocrine syndrome.
Okay, well, Terry, you definitely covered a lot, and I think there's a lot of females that identify with what you just spoke about, endocrine system, especially the thyroid and the adrenals. But there is a topic that men start paying attention to their health. Unfortunately, they wait for this. Even after they've had a heart attack, sometimes it doesn't catch their attention as much as erectile dysfunction. And I know that this is definitely something that you've been discussing a lot, and we love what you've been given the formula that you've given us to sell. Can you talk about erectile dysfunction and why that does catch a man's attention for obvious reasons?
Well, unfortunately, yes, that is a problem for men, but it's widespread, wider spread than we ever thought, because we do know that 50% of men between the age of 30 and 70 have erectile dysfunction, or at least have a major problem without having the ability to have an erection. This is very serious because it shows a couple things. First of all, it shows a very, very weak blood supply, because in order for us to have an erection, you have to have a blood flow into the penis. Also, you have to increase testosterone. You have to increase testosterone without complications with increasing estrogen. Many men try to go on testosterone products, even supplement products, or even using injectable testosterone. And, of course, all that testosterone, or either by supplement or by injection, can go the other way and convert to estrogen. So men must watch what they're doing. There are some wonderful products. In fact, we have a red ginseng. Red ginseng has a number of studies that shows that actually it's one of the best things for correcting erectile dysfunction for both men and women. Because originally we made a product for men that would help to improve their libido, their male sexual enhancement, to reduce ED. And when I was giving lectures and I was explaining this product in a group of both mixed men and women, and after I was talking about it, the subject came up from women, well, why are you doing this for men and not for us? So we made a product then for both men and women. I never thought about it, I guess. Because
we need libido, too, in circulation.
Absolutely, I agree. I learned that very fast. So we made a great product for both men and women. They're separate products. They have separate needs and separate abilities to do it. But red ginseng is the major factor that improves the libido in the male and female sexual enhancement. But if any men take any kind of supplement and they start getting breast tenderness, or they're getting a pot belly or belly fat, they're getting chubby, and after they have taken the testosterone or the testosterone supplement, or they started getting acne, or they're getting the pimples in their scalp, these are all signs of estrogen production. So what you want to do is take a product called DIM, D-I-M, which is an ingredient that is found in broccoli and other kinds of vegetables like that, like Brussels sprouts or cabbage. And DIM actually regulates all the hormones in the body for both men and women. So actually it's a combination of DIM and curcumin, which is a very, very good combination for improving the balance of the hormones in the body very successfully. But you could actually improve dramatically the actual sexual enhancement by using products to improve the blood flow. Very, very critical, because you have to realize that if the blood is not going into the penis, which is, not the thing that we are more concerned about, but that blood is also not going anywhere else in the body.
Right.
So blood and oxygen is not traveling throughout the body, feeding the tissues of the body, including the heart. So you want to improve the blood flow. You want to improve the balance of the hormones in the body for increasing the ability to produce testosterone on your own, and you keep it in balance, because you don't want too much testosterone, because that's a lot of that might go into estrogen then, and then you're going to have those female side effects.
Yeah, especially if they have belly fat. Now, there might be gentlemen listening that are like, okay, I know that my belly fat is creating a lot of issues, especially the hormonal and circulatory. Do you suggest the berberine that you make? Because I love the berberine. I love your Terry Talks nutrition sheets on metabolic syndrome. Can you touch on that, like where addressing cause versus symptom is really your first step?
Well, berberine is an alkaloid that's extracted from a variety of plants. Mostly like plants like barberry or Oregon grape or golden seal. It's a yellow pigment, has a tremendous effect on metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is a cluster of conditions and symptoms like belly fat, like heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance. So all these conditions that are very, very common today. 30 million people have diabetes type 2. 100 million people have pre-diabetes. Almost the whole population, elderly population, have high blood pressure. All these conditions are called metabolic syndrome, and berberine is one of the most excellent choices for regulating metabolic syndrome and also for losing weight. And all those fat cells that we carry, like men carry the pot belly or the belly fat, and women carry extra belly fat. I know a lot of women want to eliminate estrogen from their diet. They don't want foods to make estrogen. They don't want to buy supplements that may produce estrogen in their body because they're estrogen sensitive. But every cell in our body that is a fat cell is continuously producing estrogen for both men and women. So we want to lose that belly fat, and you can do that by changing your lifestyle diet, changing your activity levels, just all the lifestyle changes that can improve the quality of your life, the quality of your health. And then, use products like the DIM for balancing your hormones and the berberine for correcting the syndromes of the metabolic syndrome.
Now, Terry, you mentioned earlier with your salt water that you do in the morning that you do that with what you prefer to take on an empty stomach. Could you tell me some of the things you take on an empty stomach? I just want to make sure that I'm doing my empty stomach things correctly.
Well, what I primarily like to do on an empty stomach are take adaptogens. So I primarily take things like red ginseng or rhodiola and ashwagandha, things of that nature that are more energy producing. I take them on an empty stomach with the salt water. Anything that supports the thyroid and the adrenals, I do that. The general supplements like the vitamin D and the multivitamins, or grapeseed extract or curcumin and boswellia, I take them with my meals.
Okay, so I'm
right
right there with you. Perfect. Okay. And
good.
And what about the adrenal formula? Because that one sometimes confuses me because it has the amino acid component, but then all the nutrients. So sometimes I get a little brain tied on that one. Where do you stand with that one? Empty or food?
Yeah, Adrenalflex is a combination of tyrosine, L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine is a ingredient that the thyroid and the adrenal cannot live without. We need L-tyrosine. Now, we can get some L-tyrosine because it's an amino acid, it's protein. It comes from some of the proteins that we eat. But I just don't know if I want to trust that to make sure that I get enough L-tyrosine. So I like to include it in my supplement for the thyroid, supplement for the adrenal glands. And then, of course, we use adrenal extract, like we would use thyroid extract. People that have a underactive thyroid, they may be using Armour thyroid extract. They may use, that's a natural source, that's good. But we don't have a adrenal extract that is available that is standardized. So we made one because I think it's so important to have the adrenal extract. And then we use things like Rehmannia, which is an herb for the adrenals, and licorice, which is an herb for the adrenals. And the licorice will not cause high blood pressure. We have a lot of evidence that you have to use a lot more licorice than what we have in a supplement to cause high blood pressure. So it's very, very safe. And then you have to use all the other, like panocetic acid, which is huge. That's B5. That's very, very important for the adrenal glands. And people, when they get their adrenal glands back up to normal, they're going to feel so much better. They're going to have so much energy. They're actually going to get rid of their allergies. I had a woman tell me one day, she said, I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars medically trying to get rid of my allergies or reducing my allergies. And then she said, I went on your Adrenalflex. All my allergies went away because you're supporting the adrenals and the thyroid at the same time. And it's a good way to get both of those connected, both of those in balance with each other so that they have a better function in the body.
That's incredible. And Terry, I have to say, I have miraculous testimonials from my customers that use your products. Two of the biggest miraculous stories that I have heard in the last 2 weeks is about Boswellia and Andrographis. So we definitely, I'm hoping to spend the last 10 minutes on those two.
Okay, well, Andrographis has gotten to be my favorite. I've done so much research on Andrographis, and we bring Andrographis in from the Himalayas, which is the most pristine area for collecting the leaves of the plant. We use only the leaves. We don't use the root or the stalk because they contain very little of the active components. Andrographis is antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, protects the liver. In fact, I'll tell. It's one of my most favorites, so I'm going to really spend some time on that tonight because I love that product and it has such a widespread range for reducing any kind of viral infection, upper respiratory tract infection, like what we're fighting today with COVID and all these strains of viral infection. In fact, there are countries like in Malaysia and Thailand and Japan and China that are actually recommending Andrographis for their citizens to take it to prevent and to help reverse COVID-19 and other conditions. It's one of my most favorite product because it has such a wide range. It's one of the things that's going to make every one of our pathways in our body come back into balance and for good health. Boswellia is particularly, in fact, that's the only thing, because it's not even a drug that affects the 5-lux pathway. We have the COX-2 pathway, we have the 5-lux pathway, and many times you might hear of a drug being developed for being a COX-2 inhibitor, because if you inhibit the COX-2 from being overactive and you get it back into balance, then you're going to have better pain reduction, you're going to have less inflammation, you're going to have better health, better joints, and so forth. Well, the 5-lux is primarily affected by the joints and the upper respiratory tract conditions like COPD, allergies, emphysema, bronchitis, sinusitis. So Boswellia is a 5-lux inhibitor. So it inhibits the expression of the leukotrienes. When we have a very high level of leukotrienes, that's when we're more susceptible to having allergies and COPD and emphysema. And there's no drug today developed that affects the 5-lux. There are drugs that are COX-2 inhibitors. There's no drug that is a 5-lux inhibitor. And Boswellia is the most effective of the 5-lux pathway. And so it actually reduces all these conditions of the upper respiratory tract and joints. Anybody that has a lot of arthritis or pain in their joints or all these conditions of stiffness and arthritic conditions, we'll see a really good effect with Boswellia. And we'll talk all about that tonight as well. So I invite everybody to come down and listen to more of these. I'm going to tell you about my top 10 favorite herbal products, herbal medicines, that I think have a tremendous effect that, while there may be a need for drugs in some cases, but I think generally speaking of all the conditions that we are fighting today, all the conditions that are being treated by prescription drugs today can be completely eliminated, reversed, cured, I don't care what you call it. But I've seen it from people all over. When I lecture all over the country, people tell me, Terry, we do that. We cleaned up our diet. We got rid of our drugs. We feel fantastic. We don't have high blood pressure. We don't have type 2 diabetes. In fact, there's no such thing as type 2 diabetes. And I'll explain that tonight too. There is diabetes is optional. You can have it or you don't have to have it. It's up to you.
Exactly. It's a lifestyle choice. But Terry, I will tell you my Boswellia story. It was amazing. I had a very let's just say the husband still has not stepped foot in the store, but the wife every month would show up, and she told me just point blank, one product, Joanne, that's all he's willing to take. And so he had long haul COVID. The hospital said he was the longest case of long haul COVID. His lungs, COPD, emphysema, he had everything. And the pulmonologist told him, there's no going back to your normal lung function. And so just so you know. And so I said, one product. I'm like, I said, okay, the strongest Boswellia Terry makes. So that's what he's been doing. It has been over 6 months now. He just went to the pulmonologist, and the pulmonologist came into the room and said, okay, you're going to be discharged. And he's like, am I that bad? Like, what do you mean discharged? And he goes, no, your lung function is completely normal. You don't even have COPD anymore, which he had before the COVID. And so it was totally, and she was so happy. And I said, so is he going to come into the store and actually meet me now? But it's incredible. So I'm hoping they come to the talk tonight, because I just, sometimes when you just never use supplements, you can't believe they have this power. But just like food can heal you or kill you, the supplements the same thing. You want high quality supplements, and I love that you do the money back guarantee. It's kind of nice to say as a retailer, like, listen, if it doesn't work, okay, bring it back. And right away they're like, really? Like an empty bottle? And I'm like, yes. And let's just say in all the years I've been selling your products, I mean, maybe a handful of returns. Like, it's so rare, and it's usually from people that their doctor, who doesn't understand diet or nutrition or supplementation, will say, oh, don't use that. But You know that story all too well. So absolutely incredible stories I hear every day. It just makes, thank you so much, because it brings a smile to my face to know that people have solutions. And I want to talk about one other quick thing, Terry. So when I used to do triathlons a long time ago, I would use your Curamin. And I would always keep it in the car. And do you know that racers who were much more advanced than me, these people like did it for fun every month, right? They would come up to me and say, "Where's your magic pills? Where's your magic pills?" Because here I was a newbie, and I would not have that long recovery time or the pains and aches. But here's the best testimony. My friend crashed on her bike. She was racing so fast that she hit just a touch of the curb and she went flying. And so they wanted to put her right into the ambulance and bring her to the local hospital, but she was crying to me and said, "No, Joanne, please bring me to our local hospital," which was 2 hours away. And I said, "No, Krista, you need to go to the local one. I don't know if your shoulder's broken." I mean, they had her all bandaged and iced up just to get her into the ambulance. And she's like, "No, please, I want to be with my husband. I want to go to my hospital." And she goes, "I know you have those magic pills." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So I gave her 3 Curamin, and her husband called her about 30, 40 minutes later, and she was like laughing on the phone with him. And he's like, "Oh, honey, you must be fine. You sound fine. You're not even sound like you're in pain." It's like, "No, Joanne gave me her magic stuff, you know." And she ended up, she did, break a couple things and had some serious injuries, but the Curamin got her to the hospital and, made that amazingness happen. So I just want to thank you for Curamin as well. I mean, every day that's in my body, so.
One of my favorite products. I love it.
Yeah, it's incredible. And
Nice
your
story.
acute pain relief, too. Oh, my gosh, you're putting the Boswellia and the Curamin, together, that whole thing, incredible.
Yes.
So we have one more minute. What's a nice Terry closing statement? Do you want to talk about Terry Talks Nutrition again, about all the way they can read and listen to all your talks?
Sure, I'd be very happy to. And in fact, last year I wrote 9 books. That was one of my goals. January 1st rolled around in 2021, and my goal was to write 9 books through the year. I got 9 books done, and those books are available. I know that Joanne has some of them in her store. I don't know exactly how.
Oh,
If you
yes, and
come
they're all
tonight-
free today if they come today at the store or tonight for the lecture.
Yeah, in fact, they're like $8.95 on Amazon, or if you buy them other places. But Joanne has them free for you, and you can get 3 free books when you come to the seminar. So reading books and getting more information, going to my website called terrytalksnutrition.com. There you can listen to my radio show Saturday and Sunday from 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock. On your time, it's 9 to 10 o'clock because you're an hour ahead of us. You can go to my website. You can subscribe to my newsletter.
Okay, Terry, time to cut you off. You know this
All right.
this too well. I'll see you tonight, Terry. Thank you so much.
see you there.
All right, bye. All right,
My
everyone.
pleasure.
I hope
Bye-bye.
you enjoyed the show, and I'll
This
catch you next
is
week.
WPSL, Port St. Lucie. It's 11 o'clock.